I tried. Here we go. Rich here, and I'm here with my friend Ava, sitting here, and we're gonna have a little bit to eat, and just have some conversation and talk, and get to know some things about Philippines culture and some things about the women here in the Philippines, because I'm sure all you guys are really interested in what's going on out here. So let's get it started. Let's get it cracking. Let's get it. So, Ava, first, if you could give us just a little, tell us a little bit about you, give us a little background information about you.
I'm Ava, or Cheng. I'm 37 years old. I'm a widow, single mom with two boys, 6 and 12, and I'm a professional teacher.
And how long have you been a teacher?
For around 16 years.
Oh my God! 16 years, wow, okay, all right. And do you like your job?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And what do you do for fun? I mean, you've been a teacher, you have two boys. What do you do? Do you have time for fun, or what do you do for fun?
I have time for fun. I do yoga, and usually during the weekends, I go out with family.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, if I have time, I go out with friends, go to the bar, malling, and for long weekends, we go to out of town, beach, pool.
All right, so let's get into it a little bit. The first thing I wanted to ask you is, tell me a little bit about, if you tell me a little bit about the dating scene here in the Philippines. What's it like? What's the dating scene like? How's it work?
Here in the Philippines, we usually do this phase called courtship. So when you like someone, of course you have to, do the process of courting a girl.
Right.
So
Kind of old school, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
old school. So you court her, and then you take her out on a couple of dates to get to know that person, and then eventually, when you already agree, we have that mutual understanding, then you're in a committed relationship. So more like a boyfriend and girlfriend.
You know, this country, if I'm correct, this country predominantly is a Catholic country.
Yes,
correct?
it is.
When it comes to sex before marriage and that kind of thing, what's the standard for that? I mean, is it followed closely, or how is that?
Personally, I prefer marriage before sex.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because that's my belief growing up, that marriage is sacred for me, that when you're going to have sex with your partner, it should be your lifetime partner.
Understood, and that's well respected. Okay. So do you think, is that kind of your opinion, or do you think that's followed in general here in the Philippines?
I think more than half follow it, but I mean, it's a different generation now, so I cannot say really that they follow it.
To each his own, right? I mean, everybody has to decide what's best for them. So as far as you're concerned, what kind of men are you looking for?
I'm looking for Western or foreign guys at the moment, because for me, my husband already set the bar for Filipino guys.
Okay. Yes.
I already, I'm okay with having another Filipino boyfriend, but I'm exploring other options right now.
Got it. Okay. And so a foreign guy maybe, and what kind of personality characteristics are you?
Actually, I don't prefer any color.
Okay. Okay, so we're laughing, and this might get edited, but we're laughing because we previously had a really good conversation about color and preferences and all that stuff.
Going back, so for me, of course, the first thing that you look for in a person is, number one, is physical appearance. So another thing, but the most important thing for me is personality and how he puts up a conversation. That's a deal breaker for me. So if you cannot put up a real, sensible, interesting conversation, then
about communication? Is communication important?
Super important.
It's super important. Okay, I think so too. I always think I'm a big believer in communication. I really believe it is the most important thing in a relationship. If you don't have that, it is difficult to build a relationship without that. So I totally understand. So you have an idea of what kind of man you're looking for, or where you might come from. What do you think those men want from you, aside from the obvious? Okay.
So aside from the obvious, a lifetime partner that would make life easier for the guy. A submissive partner.
Okay.
And yeah, just relationships are already hard.
What?
Life itself is already hard, and relationships should be at least the least of our worries.
I've heard someone say that before.
I think I said that.
You've heard about the passport grow movement. What do you think about the idea of Western men coming here to the Philippines or Thailand or to other Southeast Asian countries to look for a wife instead of finding one in their own country?
For me, it's a bit flattering because they find Asian women like their potential life partners, and for me that's a good thing, and a bad thing to their country perhaps, maybe, because for me in general, that's how I look at Asian women. We are traditional, and in most relationships, mine in particular, I let the guy take the lead and just be a submissive wife.
In your opinion, what do you think is the best way to find a man? And then I'm going to also ask you, what's the best way to keep him?
The best way to find a man, of course, in this modern day and age, for me, I started with a dating app, and then you have to meet that person face to face. Because for me, online doesn't work. You have to have that interaction for you to know if you have that connection.
You do. You can get along with, in my experience, you can get along with a person so well online, right? And everything can seem so great online. But when you meet them face to face, you really get to know everything about them, so much more about them. You get to know their ins and outs, their flaws, the things you like, and the things you don't like, and it makes a difference. And what's the best way to keep them?
Be loyal.
Be loyal.
That's a given.
Right. So okay. So if we could assume that every woman would be loyal, then what's the best way to keep them?
Be fun and easy, simple, and don't make life complicated.
Keep it simple, right?
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
I know.
So if you did meet a foreign guy, do you think you would prefer to stay in the Philippines, or would you prefer to move to his country?
Depending on what he wants.
Okay.
Because, I take my partner's lead.
Okay.
If he wants me to stay on another country, then we'll make some changes. But if he's going to ask for my opinion, then I would rather stay here in my country because I feel safe here. I mean, no place is 100% safe.
Yeah.
But for me, my country is...
No, it's a safe place. What do women here in the Philippines want? What do you think, in your opinion? I'm going to ask you just to generalize and speak for the women in the Philippines. What do you think most women in the Philippines want from a foreign guy?
Attention. Number 2 is, for me personally, I'm a clingy person, somehow clingy, not too clingy, but we just want to make sure that our partners are safe by just informing us the whereabouts maybe, and then if any updates, if they ate or stuff like that. Those are just usual questions that we girls ask because we are more wanting to make sure that our partner is always safe and taken care of.
Okay, all right. And what about you? So I gave you the opportunity to speak for all the women in the Philippines. What about you? Do you want the same things, or do you want anything specifically different, or anything more?
Basically the same.
Okay.
Like for me, um, talking is important for me. Like spending time, that's definitely important. And for me, I'm a big fan of physical touch. So
Okay. Okay. No, just kidding. Tell me, what is your idea of a perfect relationship? What's the perfect relationship for you?
perfect relationship for me is more like a partnership. It's not a competition. You complement each other and you trust each other. You enjoy each other's company. You make sure that um, the needs of your partner is taken care of. All of them. Yes. So you have to be sensitive too, because sometimes I'm speaking of girls because it's a girl thing that sometimes girls just prefer to be quiet, and then I think it's maybe one of the characteristics of guys to ask whether or not the partner is okay. So make sure that the partner feels secure. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
How do you find dating a Filipina?
Great question. Great question. When I start dating a Filipino, I will let you know. I'll let you know the answer. Um, I can tell you. I mean, I've met a few people, and what I can tell you is kind of what I was just saying. Is that one of the things I noticed is that in communication, um, there's not really there's communication, but when it comes to like talking about what you want and what you need, and she'll hint. She'll drop some hints and expect you to pick up the hints. And if you don't, then it can lead to some miscommunication.
Yeah, but when you date the Filipina, it takes a month for you to fully let her open up. Yeah,
I did not know that. Why does it take time?
because for me, this is just a personal opinion. We guys are like having our guard up because that
Where's your guard up?
because you're protecting your heart because you had a bad experience. Of course, you don't want to 100% fully, give your heart to someone that easy. So it will take it will take time, and then probably if you're comfortable enough to be with that person, a month will do. Then maybe it's fair enough to open up fully to that person. So because of past experiences that hindered me from opening up to people, so it's really difficult for me
Right.
to open up that easy. So
I think there's something to that. I think I mentioned before, I'm not really one who likes to date younger women or younger girls like in their 20s, but I actually think that there's something to that. And it's opened my mind. I know a lot of guys come here and they want to date young girls in their young 20s, sometimes in their teens,
Yeah.
late teens, and that's okay for them. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But after I open my mind and I think about what you just said, and I have a lot, I think maybe there might be something to coming here and dating a younger girl because she doesn't have the bad experiences that you mentioned.
yeah.
She doesn't have the bad experiences. She hasn't been through a lot of bad things. Her heart is open. Her mind is open to new experiences. So before, I think I might have been a little judgmental about guys who came here and dated younger women. I think my mind is open a lot more. I still have my preference. I think I'd still prefer to date a woman in her 30s, maybe 40s. But I do understand a little bit more about that guy who comes here and wants to date a younger girl. In the teens, I don't know about that. But maybe in their later 20s, would be okay. So my mind is a lot more open than it was before, for sure.
Yeah, that's maybe connected to girls overthinking.
Girls do overthink sometimes. They
Yeah.
do overthink sometimes.
I'm
Right.
speaking for all girls.
I think in general, most men are really, really simple. Are really simple, and I think we're so simple that sometimes it confuses women. That we could be actually so simple.
Yeah, it's actually confusing.
Yeah, and so I think you make a very valid point. Okay, Ava, if you would look at the camera and let everybody know how they could get in touch with you if they wanted to hit you up and learn a little bit more about you if you want them to.
Okay, so my Snapchat is Cheng08, and that's spelled as BACHENG 08. That's the only application I'm going to use, or the username that I'm going to use.
Okay, fair enough. So there you have it. My good friend Ava, I really appreciate taking the time with you taking the time with me.
You're welcome.
This has been my first interview actually here, and it's been a pleasure. It's really been a pleasure. I got to know a little bit about you, a little bit about you personally, and I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Personally, I'm practicing sex. Cut that out.
I'm sure you'll get a lot of answers in your DMs, right? I think everybody will be blowing your DMs up. Right?